Hi there, I'm Jen Newens from West Margin Press, and I wanted to introduce you to some of our fabulous authors.
Hello, I'm Liz Goss, West Margin Press author-illustrator, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about my new book, My Way West. Between 1841 and 1884, more than 40,000 kids traveled west across North America on the Oregon and California trails. They were ordinary kids. Some were picky eaters, some had favorite games or beloved pets, but they did extraordinary things. My Way West pairs quotes from the letters, diaries, and memoirs of real young immigrants with fascinating details about what going west was actually like. Readers will taste grasshopper bread with 7-year-old Benjamin Bonney and face the dangers of quicksand with 11-year-old Eddie Scott. And they'll follow 12-year-old Owen Bush all the way to Oregon, only to discover that the state has made it illegal for him to settle there because he is Black. I have used paper cuts to bring this story to life. They give the book a very unique visual quality, and they're deliciously detailed and designed to bring even reluctant readers in for a closer look. I hope you will check out My Way West. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angela Chante, West Margin Press author of The Noisy Classroom and When My Cousins Come to Town. Similar to The Noisy Classroom, When My Cousins Come to Town is a story inspired by my life. In this particular book, we meet one of the littlest cousins as she is trying to carve out her own identity in her large Black family. At the start of the book, she's looking out the window, making all of these plans for her cousins over the summer. They're going uptown and downtown. They're going to the Bronx Zoo. They're going to go to Coney Island. And they always end with an absolutely mandatory viewing of her favorite movie and mine, The Wiz. Through all of these plans, the biggest thing on her mind is how she's going to earn her own nickname this summer, because not only is she the littlest cousin of them, she is also the only cousin who doesn't have her own nickname. In this story, I wanted to do a couple of things. One, I wanted to give the reader a sneak peek into Black cousin culture. And two, I wanted to write a story, a coming of age story that talks about identity and the importance of being true to yourself and relying on your own personal strengths to forge ahead. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Dawn Bab-Prohovnik, West Margin Press author of Lucy's Blooms, a multi-generational story about the magic of childhood firmly rooted in unconditional love. In the book, Lucy puts her heart into winning the town flower contest, but the judges disqualify her lively garden of weeds. In the end, Lucy chooses to stand by her blooms, and new seeds of love are planted. This picture book was inspired by an experience in my own garden when I nurtured what turned out to be a pair of vigorous weeds growing amongst my flowers. Despite conventional gardening wisdom, I couldn't fathom the idea of discarding them. They were joyful and beautiful in my eyes, much like Alice Brereton's illustrations in Lucy's Blooms. As with all of my books, readers will have access to robust materials to enrich the story, including a book guide, storytime lesson plan, and an animated video accompanied by a gorgeous original song composed and performed by singer-songwriter Maya Wynn. I sure do hope Lucy's Blooms will become a perennial favorite in your collection, enriching experiences such as gardening projects, Earth Day celebrations, and virtual story times with grandparents. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Jane Kurtz, West Margin Press author, here to tell you about my new picture book, Chickens on the Loose. My city is full of escaped chickens. My neighborhood next door is full of posts about them. My yard sometimes becomes a refuge for my neighbors' escaped chickens. One day, as I was mulling a prompt from the Vermont College of Fine Arts Poetry Friday, I began to wonder where those chickens would go if they could. Would they want to admire street art, ride a skateboard, visit a lovely food cart space? My last picture book was about animals that share our cities with us. It's nonfiction, told in rhyme, and has made a lot of kids laugh. Chickens on the Loose is definitely fiction, but also told in rhyme. And I think my words and John Joseph's adorable chickens will make you laugh. I also hope they will make you celebrate the animals around us. After all, about 93% of cities allow backyard chickens. About 30 schools in my state have chicken programs. I hope the words and art will help us love our urban spaces. Pay attention. You never know when you're going to see chickens on the loose.
Hello, I'm Dan Walker, Alaska author and educator, and I'm here to share my new book, Back Home. Back Home is the sequel to Secondhand Summer, and it continues the story of Alaskan teenager Sam Barger. Back Home tells the story of Sam and his brother Joe when they're divided by the Vietnam War. 1968 was a year full of violence and strife in the U.S., and Sam gets swept up in the protest movement when he takes a stand against the war in Vietnam. At the same time, his brother Joe is a Marine fighting in that war, and he returns home wounded and suffering from PTSD, though they didn't call it that then. Conflict is, of course, inevitable. How can these two brothers reconcile their political differences through the common life they've lived? From the classroom to the streets to the backwoods hunting camp, I really tried to make this book accessible and attractive to reluctant male readers, while at the same time there's a lot of politics and social issues to prompt thoughtful discussions. And yes, there's a bit of romance too. In our current state of affairs, young adult readers need stories that examine political conflict within families and communities without platitudes or preaching, just good, real stories. Sam and Joe Barger's story does that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ann Corey, a West Margin Press author. My debut novel, Lost Mountain, is a contemporary romance set in Whetstone Cove, a remote Alaskan artist community at the headwaters of Bristol Bay. Lost Mountain uncovers the story of Delia Melvin, a beautiful widow and longtime resident. When Alan Lamb, a solar energy expert, moves to the community, he falls in love with Delia, but is confronted with a huge open-pit mining project that tests his love and principles. Lost Mountain will appeal to romance readers as well as outdoor enthusiasts and fans of nature, environmental, and cli-fi writing. The novel is inspired by the Pebble Mine Project, a proposed mine that threatens the Bristol Bay salmon fishery, the greatest wild salmon fishery left on the planet. Robert Redford and other environmental VIPs vocally oppose this project. Lost Mountain also depicts communal living, and artistic explorations of several disciplines are integral to the book. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Don Scarmuzi, West Margin Press author, photographer, here to tell you about my next guidebook, Day Hikes in Washington State, the final of my three-part series where each is also a great standalone book for the Pacific Northwest. Sporting goods, gear stores, bookstores, and you are going to want to have a copy, especially with 140 colorful photographs and all color maps as well for each of the 90 hikes that also have loop and summit options depending on your skill level. Are there dangerous hikes here? Yes, of course. Hiking can be inherently dangerous, but so can walking out of your house these days if not prepared, or wearing Crocs. You'll be in good shape. Just study the routes ahead and follow along closely where I break down the difficulty from easiest to expert only, visiting waterfalls, majestic evergreens, wildflower blanketed meadows, and countless summits. Day Hikes in Washington State covers family outings to advanced hikes, with overall mileage and elevation gain and spot-on directions driving from Seattle and Portland toward Mount Rainier, the Snoqualmie region, the Olympics, the Enchantments, Sky Valley, and the North Cascades. There's info about what passes you might need, camping tips, and what time of year and the week is best. So what are you waiting for? Look, hiking may not be the cure for COVID, but it is good medicine.
Hey there, I'm Keel Hunt. I'm the author of The Family Business, How Ingram Transformed the World of Books. A lot of us know something about Ingram, but not many know the full backstory of how this business, owned by the Ingram family, began as a small state textbook depository down in Tennessee and began to grow very rapidly, serving booksellers, librarians, and publishers and so forth. In 1970, it became Ingram Book Company. And here, 50 years later, it has been an innovator in all of these aspects of the world of books. There have been innovations, print on demand, the facilitation of ebooks, and helping so many in the field navigate the digital revolution. I hope you'll give it a look.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Dixon, and this is my daughter, Mandy. We're a mother-daughter chef team from Alaska, and we are proud to present our latest culinary creation, the Living Within the Wild, Personal Stories and Beloved Recipes from Alaska cookbook collection. This book features an intimate view into our lives as a family.
This was truly a passion project for the both of us, to bring our wilderness story to life, to share our kitchens with the world.
We've assembled more than 100 recipes and full-color photographs shot in natural light in our natural Alaska setting. We've included a hefty pantry section with plenty of tips and techniques from our award-winning kitchens at Tutka Bay Lodge and Winter Lake Lodge and Lobeline Cafe.
We've been living in Alaska's wild and rugged backcountry for over 30 years, sharing our love of adventure and cooking with travelers from all around the world.
Our recipe collection weaves through our culinary day, from early morning pastries to festive bar appetizer hour to late night bonfire celebrations, from the first fish caught in the springtime to hearty stews served in the depth of a snowy winter. Our book also illustrates our dramatic seasonal changes.
We offer purposely simple recipes that highlight our seaside gardens and wilderness greenhouses along the Iditarod Trail, our love of wild foraged ocean and woodland edibles, and our locally sourced seafood and produce from our fisher and farmer friends. Our commitment to sustainability is at the forefront of our book.
So we invite you to our table to share with you our lives of adventure, good food, and the deep purpose and meaning we've found living within the wild.
I hope you enjoyed meeting our authors today. To learn more, visit us at our website at westmarginpress.com. Happy reading!